All right, back to it now as we jump into it. My next guest, Ryan Duffy from Enbridge. Enbridge has been dedicated to replacing Line 5 that brings energy across the state of Michigan, provides propane to people in the UP, provides oil and gas to other places, and they've been on track for a number of years now to build this tunnel under the Straits of Mackinac to create a long-term solution for people that are concerned that Line 5 could, be compromised at some point and contaminate the Great Lakes. It's never happened, but they were concerned about it, so Enbridge said, you know what, we can fix it, put people's minds at ease, and Ryan Duffy's with me again this morning. Ryan, good to have you here.
Good morning, Steve. Good to see you.
Nice to see you, my friend. So, what's the latest? You're hitting a milestone here, I understand. What can you tell us?
Yeah, for 5 years now, we've been waiting on this decision from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers on the tunnel project, and now the Corps put out a new updated timeline for making a decision. So that's encouraging. The Corps is planning to put out a draft EIS, it's called, an environmental impact statement, next week. And then it will likely be making a final decision in the fall. So that environmental impact statement, it's really an analysis of how the project could affect the environment. It's really a decision-making tool the Corps uses, and we use it. So it needs to be there in place before we can really go forward. And the fact it's now coming out next week, that's a significant milestone for the tunnel. It's a critical step forward for us being able to continue to plan the project. And the process, just to get to this point, as you know, has been rigorous, a multi-year review process led by the Army Corps. We, of course, appreciate all the work that's gone into getting this document to where it needs to be, and we appreciate the opportunity we've had to contribute our responses to all the information requests we received, so we've had input into it. It's been more than 5 years in the making to get here. We applied back in April 2020. And all along, our goal has been to have the smallest possible impact we can possibly have to the environment and the smallest footprint we can have. And all our work has really gone into that with that in mind. And our tunnel design already does reflect that. But now we can use some of these findings from this draft EIS to really further fine tune the project.
So let me ask you this, Ryan, because it's there's been this public debate, ban Line 5 and these things. I see those, yard signs. You see them when you're driving around different parts of the state. Close Line 5, which is silly, frankly. It would cut off energy to Michigan at a time when we know AI and everything else. We need more energy for everything all the time, as we've talked about here. So what about public participation? How do you put people at ease about the tunnel project, ones that seem to be opposed to no matter what happens? Can you help some of these folks sleep better at night, I suppose?
Yeah, for sure. We really do want to have public opinion, public input into the project. And we do see some of those signs. We also see the build the tunnel signs, of course. We know we do have a lot of support for the project in the polling we do. We see 70% support. And we want all of that input to go into this permitting process. And once the draft EIS comes out here, that does kick off a 30-day public comment period. So we really support that. We welcome comments. Having that input's really an essential part of this process. We look forward to hearing that feedback. We can answer questions, continue to engage with everybody that's involved with this process and everybody interested in the tunnel. And that public comment can really help to shape the EIS and possibly add information there that the Corps didn't already have. And so we can learn from that, use that information provided by the public to refine some of our planning even more and avoid any environmental or cultural impacts. We've done more than 40,000 hours of survey work there in the Straits already, so we have a really good idea on what's out there. But we can always make some additional refinements and fine tunings.
Yeah. Let me ask you about this. As we're talking about input and so forth, another place is for people to go to the St. Ignace Information Center. A grand reopening, I understand, is about to happen there. It's a place where people can learn about everything that's being done, right?
They can. We're really proud of that. It's our information center. It's right there in downtown St. Ignace. So everybody's welcome. Stop in if you're passing through, vacationing up in the area there. We've redesigned it. We've added a lot of new elements. It's a place where people can learn about all the research we've already done on the project and how we plan to build the tunnel. And really, I can tell you the highlight right now is that we've added a 20-foot long model of the tunnel boring machine, which is the machine we're going to use to actually dig the tunnel there under the lake bed. So it's a 2-scale model. It's got moving parts. It shows just how complex that machinery is going to be, because when it's built, it's actually going to be 600 feet long. And it has the cutter heads on the front end as it goes through drilling the rock, and that rock's turned into slurry, which goes down out the back end. And then as it goes, it's putting up the 18-inch thick sections of concrete that make up the tunnel wall. So it's an incredible piece of machinery, and you really have to see that model of what it's going to look like to really fully
And it does all those
appreciate.
things simultaneously.
Yeah, all in one machine, a 600-foot long boring machine.
Wow.
Moving its way underground through there. So it's really incredible, and it's fascinating to see it. It looks exactly like it's going to look when the real one's going to be built.
Cool. So I hear you might be taking name suggestions. I think I'm going to call it the Big Worm until I hear something better. Is it just kind of chews its way through the soil, kind of like the way a night crawler would, right? Kind of like a worm.
Well, yeah, you can pitch that one at the information center for sure. So yeah, everybody's welcome to also, while they're there, enter our contest to name the machine. That's right. So you can enter while you're at the information center, or go online and do it. I can tell you, traditionally, those boring machines are named after women from history, because that goes back to Saint Barbara, who was the patron saint of architects, builders, and miners. So we're following that tradition. Our contest to name the boring machine. Ideally, it would name a woman from history who made contributions there in that area up in the Straits. So we're looking for that. We welcome everybody's entries. If your listeners want to submit, that'd be great. And so yeah, a lot to do at the information center. We welcome everybody to stop in.
Good stuff. Interesting bit of history there, that it's tied to history. All right, so a woman who's had a great contribution to that part of the state of Michigan might get her name memorialized on what I'm still going to call the Big Worm until further notice. Ryan Duffy, really appreciate you being here.
All right, great. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you so much. And when they update the name, I will update you here, and we'll tell you what it's called. Again, you could submit online. You can go to the St. Ignace Information Center, suggest your name for this big boring machine. It does all those things. It bores, throws the slurry out the back, puts a concrete, encasement. It's a remarkable machine. It's remarkable. Technology at its best. Coming up after this, Ivy will be at her best here on the program. It's Free for All Friday. Ivy will join me in a moment.